Hello and Assalamu alaikum. This is Zya Rana in front of you. I'm the tutor for taxation, financial reporting, and the advanced taxation papers of ACCA. The agenda of this video is to discuss about the changes in TX and ATX papers from Finance Act 2022 to Finance Act 2023. And this video is relevant to those who studied taxation or ATX paper according to FA 2022. But let's say they did not appear in paper, or they attempted but failed in exam, and now they are going to take this paper according to the Finance Act 23, which is applicable from June 24, September 24, December 24, and March 25. TX and ATX exam are applicable for 4 exam sessions. FA 22 was applicable for these 4 exam sessions. And Finance Act 23 is applicable from June 24 till March 25. Again, the agenda is to highlight the changes in the Finance Act from FA 2022 to FA 2023 and is relevant to those who are going to take TX or ATX in any of these 4 exam sessions. I would be discussing all of the things according to the individual heads, for example, income taxes, for example, corporation tax, value-added tax, capital gains, inheritance. I would be covering all the changes according to the main heads of taxation. If we start from the income taxes, there is a change in the band limits, in the high rate band limit and the additional rate band limit. Previously in Finance Act 2022, it was from 37701 to 150,000. But now this limit has changed to 37701 to 125140. And thereafter from 125141 onwards, additional rate bands are applicable. There is no change in the tax rates. Tax rates in all the cases are same. Even if the tax rate is for normal rates or for the dividends, there is no change in the tax rates, whereas the limits has now changed, and these changes are highlighted in the green font. Furthermore, in the income taxes, there is a change in the dividend exemption. Previously, in Finance Act 2022, all of the taxpayers, even the basic rate, high rate, or the additional rate taxpayer, can take 2,000 dividend exemption, but now this amount has changed from 2,000 to 1,000. There is only one change, that is a dividend exemption amount, right? Furthermore, in the income taxes, the information with respect to personal allowances, for example, standard personal allowance amount is 12570. It can be transferred to spouses or civil partners. There is an income limit of 100,000. If adjusted net income is equal or more than 125,140, then tapering of personal allowance is applicable, and it will be 0 then. All the things are same. There is no change at all in the personal allowance thing. Same goes with the residency status, where we do find whether the person is non-UK resident, whether a person is UK resident, or if both the auto residency tests are not met. At that time, we apply the TICE test. A table is normally given in the taxation allowances, and the same table will be there in the information for the Finance Act 2023. There is no change. In the income taxes, child benefit information, child benefit in income tax charge, there is no change. If it is fall in between 50,000 to 60,000, then a child benefit charge is calculated, and there is no change in this calculation. If we talk about in the income taxes with respect to individual savings account, there is a maximum investment limit of 20,000, no change in this area. That will be same for Finance Act 2023. Thereafter, in the income taxes, if we talk about car benefit, as we do use in the calculation of employment income taxable benefits, there is information given for the calculation of car benefits percentage. There is no change in it. Normally, if we compare with the, if we check the past trends, there is always a change in this area. But from Finance Act 2022 to Finance Act 23, there is no change in the car benefit percentage calculation. But if we talk about car fuel benefit, previously in Finance Act 22, car fuel benefit is calculated on the scale charge amount of 25,300 pounds, whereas in Finance Act 23, this has changed to 27,800, and thereafter car van company van benefits, these amounts are for the van usage and van fuel. Both these amounts are now changed. 3,600 is now be considered as 3,960, and 688 is now being considered as 757. Vans producing zero emission have 0% benefit. Now the statement is, a van with zero CO2 emission does not give rise to a benefit, although the bottom line impact will remain same, but the wording has changed from FA 2022 to FA 2023. In income taxes, rent-a-room that's pertaining to property income, there is a rent-a-room relief. If a single room from the main residence is let out, then the calculations are performed according to two methods. In method 1, we deduct the normal expenses of room, and in method 2, we deduct the relief amount of 7,500, and there is no change in this concept for property income purposes. Pension income, pension scheme limits, all the information, the annual allowance of 40,000, then the tapering of this annual allowance, or the income limit of adjusted income of 240,000, lifetime limit allowance, all the information will be same, and there is no change in Finance Act 23 in the pension schemes limits. In the income taxes, the next area is with respect to approved mileage allowances, where an employee normally use the car for. I'm guiding you with respect to employment income, where an employee use the personal car for official purposes. At that time, employer is required to reimburse the amount, and that reimbursement is to be calculated according to approved mileage allowances. And there is no change in Finance Act 23 with respect to this concept. Capital allowances rate of tax, normal plant and machinery at 18%, special rate is 6%. No change in these two rates. Cars, if the car is zero emission, 100% first year allowance. If it is in between 1 to 50 grams, that's 18%. Over 50, it's 6% capital allowance rate. All the information is same. There is no change, although this statement has now mentioned in the information given for Finance Act 23. The same rule was applicable here in Finance Act 2022, but now this statement is directly and separately given in the information of the taxation allowances. Although the concept was same in previous Finance Act, but this statement has now is given separately. In the income taxes, capital allowance rates, the annual investment allowance limit or the expenditure amount rate of tax, there is no change in this concept. This enhanced capital allowances concept was there for companies' capital allowances calculation. There is a super deduction, that is a special rate pool, 50% first year allowance. This information was applicable till Finance Act 22. The students who attempted TX or ATX paper till March 24, they would be studying companies' capital allowances as per this concept. But now this concept has changed, has eliminated from the course, because it was introduced mainly for 2 years, and 2 years are ending on 31st March 24. The students who are going to take TX or ATX paper in any of these 4 exam session, they would not be studying this enhanced capital allowances concept for companies' capital allowances calculation. Commercial structure and building allowance rate is same. There is no change in this concept. That is same as 3%. Next heading is income taxes, cash basis for small businesses that pertaining to trading income. There is a limit for 150,000, and there is no change in this concept. And if we talk about the income taxes, trading losses adjustments, at time of adjusting the losses cap concept is applicable, and this losses cap concept has no change in Finance Act 23. The same things can be applied over here in FA 2023. After the first heading, now let's talk about the corporation tax. That's the second head of taxation. Normally, previously, like for example, like from 4 to 5 previous tax years, company's tax rate was 19% and the profit threshold was 1.5 million. This information has dramatically changed. The students who are going to take TX or ATX according to FA 2023, now they are required to follow this information for the calculation of corporation tax liability, plus a marginal relief concept is also introduced for the companies, and the calculation of marginal relief will be performed according to this formula. In Finance Act 22, there was a profit threshold amount of 1.5 million, although the amount is same for FA 2023, but the wording has now changed. A quarterly installment and profit threshold is now separately mentioned in this information. Another change with respect to the other head, the third head of value added tax. In FA 2022, these are the standard things of VAT. No change in this concept, but with respect to notice period regime for the calculation of penalties, this concept has now changed. A new table will be followed for the calculation of the penalties for VAT, late VAT payments. Now the penalties will be calculated according to this information in the Finance Act 2023. Other head of inheritance tax, the tax rates, there is no change. And taper relief concept, there is no change. In fact, we can conclude that there is no change at all in the inheritance tax calculations. All of the things will remain same according to the Finance Act 22. Same things will be applicable for FA 2023. If we talk about the fourth head of capital gain, by the way, we have covered the income taxes, corporation taxes, value added tax, inheritance tax, and the fifth one is capital gain tax. There is only one change in the annual exemption amount. Previously, it was 12,300, but now it's in FA 2023, the annual exemption amount for capital gain tax purposes is now changed to 6,000 from 12,300 to 6,000. And the other one is NIC's calculations. For example, class 1 employee, class 1 employer, class 1A employer, class 2 and class 4, these are the trading income NICs, whereas the class 1 employer, 1A, all these are for employment income purposes. There is no change in the limits. Limits are same in both the cases. In both the cases, the limits are same, but there is a change in the tax rates. NIC's calculations are now different rates will be used for the calculation of national insurance contributions. You can see there is a change. Instead of 13.25, you would be using 12% instead of 3.25%. Now the actual rate is 2%, and this also changed from 15.05 to 13.8%. Class 1A NIC, there is also a change. By the way, that was 15.05, but now this has changed to 13.8%. That's for the calculation of class 1A employer NIC. Class 2 NIC, previously it was calculated at 3.15 per week. This amount has now changed to 3.45 per week. And with respect to class 4 NIC, only the NIC calculation rates has now changed from 10.25% to 9% and 3.25% to 2%. This change is with respect to the NICs, and that's we covered on 2 slides. Rate of interest assumed. Normally, students do mix these two. By the way, these two are different things. Official rate of interest is mainly used, let's say, I'm giving you an example. In the calculation of employment income, we do use this thing for the calculation of loan benefit, for the calculation of expensive accommodation benefit. Previously, it was 2%, but the official rate of interest is now changed to 2.25%. And whenever in the taxation, any amount is underpaid or overpaid, then the rate of interest on underpaid tax was 3.25, but the under Finance Act 23, that will be 6.50 instead of 3.25. And the rate of interest on overpaid tax, instead of 0.5%, you would be calculating at 3%. Standard penalties for errors whenever in the taxation, if there is an error penalty, a table is given in the taxation allowances and no change in this concept, means the same penalties for errors are applicable in Finance Act 23 as it was previously applicable in the Finance Act 22. So till now we have discussed the changes which is applicable for both the papers, the TX and the advanced tax. These changes we just discussed is mainly for TX and ATX. But if we further talk about, there are certain other changes which are mainly and only applicable for ATX paper. We shall be covering the ATX changes. We shall be guiding you with respect to ATX changes, further changes in ATX in a separate video. And in case of any guidance is required, I'm sharing my number +9237 +9232378731 That's my number. In case of any question, query, and clarity, feel free to ask. I would be guiding you with respect to the questions or any unclarities in your mind. I repeat, my number is +923223787312. That's my number. You may get in touch for any clarification, for any help. By the way, in this video, I just talked about the major changes from these two Finance Acts. And the students who would be taking TX or ATX paper in any of these 4 exam sessions, they would be studying the TX or ATX syllabus according to the Finance Act 23. And wishing you good luck for your exam, for your preparations. Take care and bye.